Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Southwest Virginia fishing report with Matt Reilly. How's it going, Matt?
Pretty good, Marvin. How are you?
Just trying to stay cool. I mean, I think we are officially in the throes of the dog days of summer at this point.
Yeah. Well, you guys have it worse than we do. We don't. Have you guys hit 100 degrees yet?
Not yet, but we were in the upper 90s here today in Charlotte.
Okay. Yeah. When I was living back home in Central Virginia, it's like we'd have 105 heat index by July 5th, or July 4th. But where I'm at now, elevation, helps us out a little bit. I mean, a hot day is like 94, 95. And we've been getting there late in the day, but it's like when Ethan came down and fished the other day, he said he was surprised that it didn't get above like 80 degrees until the afternoon.
Yeah, that's pretty good. To me, what kills you is the humidity and the lack of a breeze, but that's just me.
Yeah. Well, on the river, it seems like, of course, you're sitting in the middle of the sun with no shade a lot of times, but on the river, you almost always have that upstream breeze, which is a little annoying from a rowing standpoint, but feels nice sometimes.
Well, I know we've talked about this a lot. I'm sure the game is top water for smallies right now.
Yeah, it's been a little, really, I would say a little late getting going. The river is just kind of dropped into summer levels here within the last day or two. In fact, we saw it change a lot on Sunday, where we started in the morning and it was a little dingy and it dropped probably about 9 inches. And by the end of the day, it was clear and you could see a lot of structure. And the next day, I mean, it was clear and pretty low, and it looked like summer water. And we did a lot better, had more consistent topwater action because of it. But when it's been a little up, the fish will still eat on top, but sometimes you're better off, throwing streamers or trying different things subsurface. But I'd say if the pattern holds for the next couple of weeks, topwater fishing will be pretty solid.
Got it. And are there any flies that you prefer over any others?
Well, like I said before, it flies with I like a pretty aggressive splat, so dense flies. I don't fish a lot of foam because they tend, unless you weight them somehow, they tend to kind of hang in the air and don't get I call it the dinner bell, the splat on the water that really gets the fish's attention. And then, just different colors. I think I've mentioned, yellow, blue, green, black, those kinds of colors. So lots of different colors will work too, but I like really sharp profiles and profiles that sort of imitate common repair or sort of terrestrial insects, like the cicada is the big one in the summertime. They have sort of a unique profile, so imitating those can be key sometimes. But yeah, things with a sharp profile and things that go splat are kind of on the top of my list.
Got it. And obviously, since fish don't have eyelids, I assume the game is to really kind of get out early and fish late, and either fish streamers or go take a nap in the middle of the day.
Well, so I hear a lot of people say that, and that has not been my experience. Sometimes it seems like you can get a pretty decent topwater bite in the morning, and certainly later in the day. But the thing with the summertime, particularly here, like I said, where we have elevation, and certain times or some nights, temperatures can swing pretty drastically. Some mornings, in fact, I guess it was yesterday, water temps were like 70 in the morning and 81 in the afternoon. So they're swinging quite a bit. And, depending on where you are in the river too, I mean, springs and that sort of thing will influence that. But, water temp warms later in the day, particularly if you have sun up. And if the water is is lower just because there's less volume to warm up. So fish will literally become, more active the warmer the water gets. And the higher the sun, the more the fish, like you said, they don't have eyelids, so they have to kind of figure out how to mitigate the amount of sunlight that they're getting. So they're either going to go deep or they're going to go to the shade in shallow water. And I tend to believe that you're going to find most of your feeding fish in less than, say, 5-6 feet of water, just because that's where most of the food is. So that's why we have this really strong shade line pattern in the summertime, where we're fishing up underneath the trees and that kind of thing, because the brighter the sun and the brighter the sun, the sharper the shade line becomes, and more important that becomes. And the warmer the water, the more the fish are eating. And so really the middle of the day into evening is my favorite time.
Got it. Well, that's super helpful. And folks, if you have a question for Matt, if you'll send it to us on the Articulate Fly Facebook page, and if we read your question, you'll get some Articulate Fly swag. And then at the end of the season, for all the folks that we've read your questions, we're going to have a drawing, and Matt's going to hook you up with some Reilly Rod Crafters coupons and some flies. Well, Matt, it's not a fishing report with you if we don't talk about your upcoming Rural Virginian article. So what you got in the pipeline?
Yeah. So this week, I think I'm going to write just kind of like a fishing story. I had kind of a cool guide trip last week with a guy who actually lives just like a road over from where I grew up. And he's been reading my column in the Rural Virginian since I started writing it. And he decided that he wanted to come try fly fishing for smallmouth with me last week. And so we got on the river and didn't have great conditions, but he ended up catching, his first smallmouth on a fly, and it was about 17.5 inches, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And it was just it was kind of a cool, like, full circle kind of story to me. And that's kind of what I'm all about, is just kind of bringing the whole outdoor enthusiast circle closer and making relationships and that kind of thing. So that was a special thing to me. So I may kind of write up a story about that. That's kind of what's on the top of my mind right now. I haven't really put pen to paper yet, but that's what I'm thinking about anyway.
Well, very cool. Well, I will link to your most recent article in the show notes like I always do. And before I let you go, why don't you let folks know where they can find you so they can fish with you this summer?
Yeah, all my info is on the website. It's MattReillyFlyFishing.com. And email and phone number and a phone call would be probably the preferred method. Emails are easier just because I have them online. I can keep track of them and make sure I get back to you. So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, listen, folks, get out there and catch a few. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Matt.
Thanks, Marvin. You too.